more trouble for Boeing in the wake of two deadly crashes involving their planes.
Fox 5 legal analyst Wendy Patrick is here with the latest on this. Wendy, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so first it was Boeing's MAX planes. Now there were this trouble with dozens of new planes and something about a cracked piece and this and that. What's going on with Boeing?
Well, just in time for summer vacation, right?
Yeah, really.
When everybody is planning travel, and the 737 is a workhorse. That's the plane that most of us are used to flying domestically. Southwest, hello. I mean, most of us are big Southwest flyers. Those use the 737. But yes, so they've identified another issue. Now, we would rather an issue be identified before another crash than after the fact. Sure. We would rather suffer the inconvenience of having to rebook or having a plane swap or what have you before having another crash. Like, remember, it was just October when Lion Air went down. It was just March when the Ethiopian plane went down. These within 5 months of each other probably has all airlines on notice that any issue they see, they should foresee replacing it, doing what they need to do, grounding these planes before, God forbid, there becomes another issue.
I've never heard of people now when they book their flights and now they're asking, well, what kind of plane am I on? Am I on a 737?
Yeah.
That's a new thing that's now come about. Are there legal issues at this point, seeing how there hasn't, we haven't had a crash with any of the American airlines on this country? Does that legally, where does that sit?
Legally, you can imagine that airlines are proactively implementing even increased measures to ensure that they put people over profits. Because when you think about the crisis of confidence that Boeing is facing right now, other makers are doing the same types of things with their planes. But here's the problem for people that already have booked flights, for example. You do want to be proactive and learn as much as you can about the safety features and the dangers. But when there's litigation, when you're in the middle of litigation, you know, Boeing's CEO can only say so much. People want to know, right? We're putting ourselves and our loved one on planes. Knowledge is power. We want the most information as we can. But we also have to appreciate when the answer is continually, while investigation is continuing, how do you make that very important decision about which type of plane do you want to be on? What kind of 737? And are other models safe?
Right. And so shareholders, they have filed a class action lawsuit, right? Saying the company hid safety risks. Do they have a valid case?
Well, they might, because what you have to look at is when you have two crashes within 5 months of each other. The question, I should say, one of the many legal questions is, what could you have learned from the first crash that might have prevented the second? 2 in a 5 month period, that's the kind of chronology of disaster that might spell financial disaster for a company. Now, not necessarily. There are plenty of legal actions, including the claim of, well, where should we try this case? What law? Is this an international case? Do we apply the laws of the U.S.? So there's plenty of issues to work with. Nonetheless, you don't want to be in this position to begin with. And that's not even saying the lawsuits that are being filed by some of the loved ones of those that were on 1 or 2 of those flights.
And I can't help but think, I mean, Boeing is like the gold standard of airplane manufacturers and everything else, and you figure if you have trouble canceling flights on one of these and you don't want to go, I mean, do you then start a similar lawsuit, or what's the deal with that?
I'm
if
so
they don't
glad
let
you asked.
cancel?
I'm so glad you asked. You have to read, remember the contract of carriage that we started talking about when people were being denied entry to planes because of wearing leggings or being dragged off of planes and all these terrible things that happened. These are the types of things that passengers have to read on the front end to be able to know what their options are if, God forbid, a flight is canceled, or if something happens, or if they end up having to return to the airport, which is better than taking off and crashing. Whether they have to switch out planes. Read that proactively. Read that on the front end so you already know what options are available to you in case a flight is canceled. It's a link. All you have to do is click on it. Most people never take the time to do this. They've never heard of this. Do it now, because we're seeing so many of these issues. Summer vacations are important. You want to be able to travel with your loved ones. Make sure you have covered your options. And I mean, road trips are fun. Maybe you want to take an alternate form of transportation if you're traveling locally. Lots of options available. Look into them now.
Oh boy.
The timing. The timing
I think with the lawsuits also, it's what they're saying Boeing knew or didn't know in advance.
And did they rush things to production? Hence the profits over people argument. We'll see where this lawsuit goes.
Yeah, the lawsuit will dig it all up. Wendy Patrick, thank you.
Thank you.
As always, enjoy your RV trip.
RV, okay.